it, and aloha. So back at you with some more thoughts on the spot. And at this spot, just a few minutes ago, I had a nice little Periscope broadcast. We were checking out the sunrise and came to some talk in the midst of the broadcast, interactive type stuff, where we were talking about the beauty of what we were seeing in contrast with the ugliness that people are displaying and seeing on the internet these days, whether it has to do with international politics, our own politics here in the US, people demonstrating and fighting for rights, and on and on and on and on. So the thought that I had was that there's so much ugliness out there, right? And it's true, there is. But there's also a lot of beauty out there. And one of the reasons I try to share what I share on all of my various platforms through Salty Cures is to continually help people to see all of the beauty that is out there in the world, and hopefully try to convey some good ideas that are uplifting, inspiring, that also go hand in hand with that physical beauty that's all around us. So that was kind of the idea. And then I started scrolling through my Facebook and of course saw what I was just talking about on the Periscope broadcast earlier, that is so destructive and ugly and is worth scrolling past every single time. And then I came across something that was a quote by C.S. Lewis. You may be familiar with him, and was really, really awesome. I really want to share it, and I think it has a lot to do with what we see and what we are combating and contending with in our hearts and our minds every single day with what we see and are inundated with on the internet. First of all, C.S. Lewis, whether or not you're a Christian, he was a Christian author. A lot of really noteworthy works that he put out there, and whether or not you're a Christian or a religious person in general, the man was full of a lot of wisdom and intelligence, and he just had a way of putting out great ideas in a way that made you stop and be like, whoa, let me take a look at this and what he's saying. Really powerful ways of putting words together to convey an idea or a thought. So just a little bit of background on this book that this quote is taken from, The Screwtape Letters. Now, it's a book I've always wanted to read. I haven't yet for whatever reason. And rather than me trying to paraphrase what it's about, let me pull this up real quick and just read you a quick little synopsis from Wikipedia. Screwtape Letters, Christian apologetic novel by C.S. Lewis, written in a satirical epistolary style. While it is fictional in format, the plot and characters are used to address Christian theological issues, primarily those to do with temptation and resistance to it, okay? First published 1942, story takes the form of a series of letters from a senior demon Screwtape to his nephew Wormwood, a junior tempter. The uncle's mentorship pertains to the nephew's responsibility in securing the damnation of a British man known only as the Patient. Okay, so that's sort of the premise. And so this quote, I thought, really had so much to do with what is happening to people nowadays as they engage in these internet battles, in the war of words, and a contest of ideologies and opinions, and trying to force those on other people. So this is taken again from the book, The Screwtape Letters. My dear Wormwood, be sure that the Patient remains completely fixated on politics, arguments, political gossip, and obsessing on the faults of people they have never met serves as an excellent distraction from advancing in personal virtue, character, and the things that the patient can control. Make sure to keep the patient in a constant state of angst, frustration, and general disdain towards the rest of the human race in order to avoid any kind of charity or inner peace from further developing. Holy cow. That's what's happening today. Ensure the patient continues to believe that the problem is out there, in quotations, and in the broken system, also in quotations, rather than recognizing that there is a problem within himself. Keep up the good work, Uncle Screwtape. Alright guys, I don't need to say much about how that directly translates to what we're seeing and experiencing today. But I do just want to close this video in saying that, number one, contention is of the devil. That's also a quote from scripture. Again, if you're religious, irreligious, it doesn't really matter. I think we would all agree that contention doesn't really do good in any shape or form, doesn't really do anything for bringing people together into a way that understands and accomplishes anything productive. And so beware of that. Beware of the contention that is out there, that you allow yourself to come into contact with. And if you want to be miserable, which is the title of this video, then go ahead, dive right into it headlong and enjoy yourself. but the problem is you won't enjoy yourself. So be aware of what's out there. Try to not be part of the continual grief that is being spread upon us in social media and elsewhere, and be a part of the solution. Number one, maybe by just steering away from it. Have your ideas, have your opinions, have your political views, that's fine, but beware of where you're crossing the line in participating in a general set of activities nowadays that is making life less bearable for all of us. And that's not to point the finger at anybody, but it really is something that stunts your growth as a human being when you engage in backbiting and fierce wars of words and just fighting nonstop on the internet. And it prevents you from truly seeing the things that are important, the things that are beautiful in this world, and that could make yourself a happier person. It's one of those things that just is the gift that keeps on giving. When we're full of sarcasm and anger and bitterness and just gnawing at each other non-stop, we think that satisfies us, but all it does is satisfy the need or the desire to want to do that stuff even more. And I think we've already seen some of the outcome of this type of behavior in our society, and if it continues, which sadly it probably will, we'll continue to see more of the outcomes of that. And so anyway, this is just a plea and a thing to think about. Think twice about what you choose to do and how you spend your time with all of the negativity that's out there on the internet especially, or even in just conversations people to people, if you have those anymore. Okay, take care. Aloha and aloha.